What about the military in SHTF? Hey everybody, this is Michael with Asymmetrical Preparedness. I want to talk a little bit about that today. People talk about different things and there's, different information out there and stuff. So I feel it's an important topic to talk about. What will the military do in SHTF? How will it affect us? What their role is? Pretty much, are they going to be a threat? Are they not going to be a threat? Those kind of things. Okay, so SHTF, and I'm talking about like big event. I'm talking about not necessarily like Civil War type thing, but talking about like total collapse of society. Financial collapse, economic collapse, whatever it may be. So what will the military do? So total chaos. I'm talking without rule of law situation. That's the main thing. Where you can't just call an ambulance, you can't just call law enforcement. It's pretty much total collapse. Big event, and I know, what's the likelihood of that in this country? Well, it seems like it's getting more and more possible. A lot of people are like, well, this is the United States, we're a first world nation, stuff like that doesn't happen in first world nations. Well, yeah, look at history. There's been a lot of quote-unquote first world nations in their time period that have fallen and failed and had total chaos. So anyway, what would the military do? What would we have to worry about, etc.? Okay, total collapse. First off, people in the military are human beings just like you and me. They have families, they have loved ones, they have interests, they have likes, they have dislikes. Just normal people. They're not Superman, they're not special. Some of them are special, not Superman. Some of them are close to Superman. But anyway, so first off, you got to think about that. You got to recognize that. They're just people. So a lot of them will react just like people. What do I mean by that? Well, the ones that have families, the ones that are married, well, everybody has a family, but the ones that are married, kids, stuff like that, you know what I mean? Immediate family in their home. What will they be concerned about in a total chaos situation? They'll be concerned about the same thing you and I are, their families. They're not necessarily going to give a crap about what else is going on. Do you think that, say, the commander or whatever tells them to, okay, let's form up and let's go do some stuff, like martial law type stuff? Well, you think they're really going to give a crap about, somebody somewhere else and pack up, put on all their gear and leave their families? Odds are, probably not. If they're living on base, on post, it may be a little bit different situation. But if they're living in town, just like law enforcement officers, they're just going to want to take care of their own. They're going to want to protect their families, provide for their families, and do those things. The single people in the military and maybe law enforcement may stick around a little bit longer. Single people may still be there. They may, they'll be living in the barracks on base or something like that, and they may be available. But we're talking a large number of the military that probably just wouldn't play anymore. Or, based on the situation that has evolved to that point, they may have waken up and seen what's really going on. So, is the military a threat? Well, it depends. It could be. It could not be. One thing I think, knowing with my experience, the people I've worked with, the people I've known, and my personal experience in the military, is that special operations units, people, would probably be a lot less of a threat to the average people. Because how the military works, A lot of people say the military is all brainwashed. Well, yeah. I mean, they're trained to do a certain thing. They're trained to follow orders, and they will do what they're told to do. But they're also told that they're required to obey lawful orders, not unlawful orders. And one of the things that I have a problem with in the military and the way it works is back when I joined, we pledged an oath. They still do. As part of their oath, they agree to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. The problem is, when I came out of high school, I knew what the Constitution was. I knew what the Constitution said because we studied it in school. We knew it. I mean, not memorization, but we knew what the Constitution was. We knew what the Bill of Rights was. We knew what it meant. We knew what it stood for. Nowadays, they don't teach it in school. So a lot of the younger guys, what I don't understand is it's an unlawful oath. It's an unlawful contract. When these people are in the military, when they swear an oath to a document, to a set of rules and regulations that they know nothing about. How can you sign and swear an oath illegally supporting and defending something you don't even know what it says? You have no idea what in the world you're agreeing to. That's not even legally binding. So without that knowledge, it's an illegitimate oath. That's where the problem comes in. The people that don't really know. The people in the military that don't know that they're supposed to support and defend the Constitution. They may know that, but they don't really know. I mean, they may have heard, like free speech, freedom of religion. They may have heard, Second Amendment, gun rights, stuff like that. But they don't really know what it means. They don't really understand how important it is. So those people could totally be threats because they don't know what they're doing is wrong. But, so getting back to the military in general. So the military, yes, mainstream, just like big military type stuff. They just kind of do what they're told. They are trained to follow orders, and especially orders under fire, unquestionably. Because if somebody sits there and questions an order, it could get everybody dead, right? Okay, until you move into specialized units. We're talking special operations forces and all associated units. There's a lot of units out there that some of them you probably never even heard of, but they're there. And those people in those communities, there's a shift in the paradigm. There's a shift in the attitude. There's a shift in the way of thought. It's not just unquestionably follow orders. It is to question everything. It is to think with your mind. It is to be an independent thinker, a dynamic thinker, somebody that can, no matter what's going on around them, they can still function mentally and make independent, intelligent decisions and thought processes themselves because they operate in smaller units. So they don't have 50 to 100 guys behind them. Instead of stacking up on a door with 12, 16 guys, whatever, they're stacking up with 4, 6, maybe 8, maybe possibly 10, more, sometimes in bigger operations. But they're trained to operate in smaller unit sizes, which means there needs to be a lot more cross-training, there needs to be a lot more knowledge, there needs to be a lot more skill sets, of course. But also, they can't just sit there and rely on their commander, the person in charge, whatever, to tell them everything they need to do. They need to be able to think and adapt dynamically on their feet as things progress. And they need to do so effectively. So people in that world aren't just blind followers of orders. They know a lot more. They're very intelligent. That whole thing of where they make in the movies, special operations forces, Green Berets, Navy SEALs, stuff like that, look like a bunch of just behemoth knuckle draggers that are dumb, and they're just like a bunch of bodybuilders. That's not true at all. People in specialized units in the military are very intelligent. and they're trained to be free thinkers. So I'm not really concerned about that whole side of the military. I think if things go south, that whole side of the military, more than likely, especially in a Civil War situation, would be on the side where I am. Big military, maybe concerned. It depends on also what's your proximity to a military installation and what is the role of the forces in that military installation. Say, I know there is a specific submarine base close to me, fairly close to me, that houses the Trident missile submarines. Those are nuclear missile submarines, ballistic missile submarines. Okay, on that facility, there are a lot of Marines. I don't need to say how many, but there are hundreds of Marines there. So, are they a concern in SHTF or anytime, other than them, taking care of their families and stuff like that? But anyway, aside from that, are they a threat to us? Would they be employed in martial law situation? No, they would not. Their only duty, their only concern, the only thing those Marines care about is the safety and security of those nuclear warheads and those nuclear weapons. They will not leave that facility unless it's maybe the immediate vicinity to deal with a threat that other forces on the facility are not capable of dealing with. But they're not going to be coming out, rolling out in their armored vehicles to go door to door. They just won't. So you need to know these things. And if you're not prior military or have some kind of inside information, it's difficult to learn those kind of things. Most people don't know that. They don't understand that. So the biggest thing to think about is the military are just people like you and me. And in a total collapse of society, they probably wouldn't report to work. A lot of them. Those that do would have a much diminished capability. So if you're in, and this goes back to another thing, if you're in an urban area, then the likelihood of you having to face military forces is much greater than if you're rural. Because rural areas means lower population density, people are more spread out, which means you got to spread your forces out more. You can concentrate your forces in an urban environment. If they got to try to spread out over all the rural areas, it's not going to work because they'll be decimated because they won't be able to bring enough strength and force in a specific area. So you got to remember that also. So these are some things. Oh, and I forgot again. If you guys enjoy the content, or you just want to support the channel, or you just want to be a cool dude, hit the subscribe button, ring that notification bell for all. Give me a thumbs up, please. I really appreciate it. Share the videos and comment below. Those things all help the growth of the channel so that we can reach more people, that we can get more people in the asset column instead of the liability column, which means fewer people will be coming for your stuff and for my stuff. The fewer threats there'll be out there, the more people we get on board with preparedness. So please help me. Please make your own YouTube channel. It's not that difficult. It requires a lot of work, yes. But if you got stuff to say, make your own channel. If you're interested in learning about how to make a channel, or you have a channel and say a smaller channel than mine or something like that, or even a larger channel, and you want a shout out or something like that, you want me to check out your channel, let me know. Email me, asymmetricalpreparedness@gmail.com. I will check it out. I will probably support you because I believe in spreading the love. I believe in building the community as a whole. It's very important. I don't play into the whole, I don't know, there's a lot of back and forth, there's a lot of division, because, that's the agenda nowadays. That's what everything is pushing for division. Black versus white, Christian versus non, left versus right, whatever. I mean, seriously, that's all they're pushing, is division. I don't play division. I'm sick and tired of that game. I won't play it anymore. I find value in almost every single prepper channel and homesteading channel and everything like that that I've ever watched. Some people approach it differently. They have different ways to approach it. They have different ways to articulate themselves. Some people are more well-spoken than others. Some people that aren't well-spoken still have a lot of good information. So please check out a lot of channels. Subscribe. It doesn't take you anything to subscribe, right? So subscribe to all these channels. Spread the love, build the community. Okay, moving on. Got a couple more things to say. In a without rule of law situation, one thing we will have to worry about, though, in the military is all their armaments. If everybody doesn't report to work, but they know, some people know, they know where the armory is. Thus, a lot of these weapons, actual weapons of war, could fall into bad people's hands. Hopefully they'll be scooped up by the good people while they go to defend their families. But the thing is, they'll exist. Without rule of law situation will be an ugly thing. All we can do is the best we can. All we can do is prep a little every day. You guys have heard shortages. You've seen the increased prices at the stores. Please get your preps in. Please do things like you see all around me right here. That's called sustainable. That's called self-reliance. Growing your own food, raising your own animals, very important. Stockpiling food, very important. Having defensive tools and freedom seeds, very important. But above all that, trusting in Him is important to me. May not be for you, but that's a big part of my preparedness, is spiritual preparedness, as well as mental preparedness. Mental preparedness is very important. Physical preparedness is also right there. That's all the physical things you get, but also don't forget your body. Your body is one of the best tools that you will have, and it will be a go, no-go situation in an SHTF scenario if you're not able to do the things. If you're not able to accomplish the mission or do whatever, perform whatever task you need to perform because you're not physically capable, well, then you're SOL. And then your likelihood of surviving is a lot lower than if you were prepared. So please take care of yourselves. I love you guys and have a wonderful day. Blessings to you and yours.